Karinda, let's talk a little bit about the issues regarding the closing of abandoned buildings as well as the postponement that we've just heard of.
Indeed. Well, of course, this was an announcement that many people were looking forward to, especially in the aftermath of the deadly fire at the building in Johannesburg. But what you're looking at right now is the Lancers building very close to the Durban CBD, about 3 or 5 minutes away from the actual CBD. And this is a municipal-owned building that has been illegally occupied for years. And according to the eThekwini website, it has been categorized as a business and commercial building. But you see the state of the building before you, and of course it is quite hazardous in terms of the way this is set up. Now, right now, an opposition political party is having a meeting with the chairperson of the residents who live here, and they are, of course, just speaking about the conditions they are facing, saying that they've been waiting for housing, and because they are unemployed or they live in very poor, they don't have enough job opportunities or educational opportunities. They can't afford to actually get housing themselves. One thing that stood out for us now, and I'm just going to lower my voice because the meeting is underway, is the way that the structures have been set up. So that's the meeting that's underway, where they're just explaining their plight. But my colleague Lungelo Zungu is showing you how there's built structures. So these structures are built inside the building. Just take a look around us, walk with me, and you see, and then inside these structures are where people are living. It's not conducive living environment. There's also no ablution facilities here, or any sanitation facilities here, and so essentially many of these, just reflecting on the Johannesburg fire, are flammable material. There's no evacuation plans or evacuation routes, and actually that's some of the discussions that are happening right now just near us. Just take a look at this water buckets. These are how the residents will collect water or use water. This is essentially the kitchen for those that are living in the structures that you see before you. This is their kitchen. This is where they cook their meals. There's broken windows around us, and this building has been in this state now for years, we are told, and so you see there people just currently speaking about some of these issues. Now, last week, in the aftermath of the Johannesburg fire, we did ask various municipal and government representatives about this burning issue of abandoned buildings that we see in Durban, in Pietermaritzburg, countrywide in major cities like this. And the eThekwini mayor reflected on this specific building, alleging that even in some cases it might be a case of criminality behind the fact that when people are evacuated or told to leave this building, ultimately what happens is that they have legal counsel or senior counsel at the courts. So there's a legal challenge, he says, with regards to actually evacuating this building to renovate it. But of course then the residents here, they say that they have nowhere else to live. But I'd like you to take a listen to the eThekwini mayor and what he had to say about this building specifically.
In the main, there are buildings along Mahatma Gandhi Road, which we are still awaiting the court decisions. If you look at their structures, they are no longer good structures in good condition, and in fact, they pose more danger to the people around that area. So as soon as courts grant us the right, we deal with those buildings. The issue of Lancers Road, we initiated a process of evicting people. Within seconds, people were able to find a senior counsel. Do you think that people who reside in these buildings, who do not even have employment, can afford to pay for a senior counsel? It tells you that there are drug dealers who are hiding behind these committee members who are really vulnerable. Then they are using them as a shield so that they can continue to do their drug work and circulate drugs in our city.
So that's what the eThekwini mayor has to say with regards to this specific building. But right now, in the meeting that's currently happening, and we'll give you the voices of the residents just after the meeting is done, they say that they are experiencing their own socio-economic challenges that leads them to live in these conditions. They don't have anywhere else to go, and they themselves are worried about these living conditions, but it is in some way a form of desperation as well. Lungelo will just show you. Take a look at the rubbish pile in the center of this block here. It is not sanitary at all, but these are the way that the residents have been living. Their little children around us even, and so this is what they are faced with on a daily basis. Of course, this brings to light the housing crisis that the country is experiencing, but also just a larger socio-economic issue of the fact that in many cases, many of these residents are unemployed. They are staying here the whole day. They don't have access to any educational opportunities that will help them with employment. And of course, we know, just as I stand here and look around, there is a drug issue. There is an issue of alcoholism as well. And so that, of course, impacts on residents getting jobs too. So it's a crisis that spreads across various issues, but ultimately one that's socio-economic, quite deep-rooted at that. And this is the impact or the aftermath of what we see around us. And so stay with us, because in a little while we'll give you the voices of the residents as soon as they're done with that meeting.
Absolutely, Karinda. Jagmohan, of course, showing us some of the harsh societal challenges out there with the hijacked, illegally occupied buildings. We will continue to bring you more from Karinda, but for